Do some of us.
Alright, you want me to do the introduction?
Yes.
Cool. Alright. So, for those of you who don't know, this is going to be set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, which is honestly the best fantasy or sci-fi universe there is. But I'll give you a brief introduction, which is the blurb in the rulebook. So it says, for more than 100 centuries, the Emperor has sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth. He is the master of mankind by the will of the gods, and a master of 1,000,000 worlds by the might of his inexhaustible armies. He is a rotting carcass writhing invisibly with power from the dark age of technology. He is the carrion lord of the Imperium, for whom 1,000 souls are sacrificed every day, so that he may never truly die. Yet in his deathless state, the Emperor continues his eternal vigilance. Mighty battle fleets cross the demon-infested miasma of the warp, the only route between distant stars, their way lit by the Astronomicon, the shining psychic manifestation of the Emperor's will. Vast armies give battle in his name on uncounted worlds. Greatest among his soldiers are the Adeptus Astartes, the Space Marines, bioengineered super warriors. Their comrades in arms are Legion, the Imperial Guard, the ever-vigilant Inquisition, and the tech priest of the Adeptus Mechanicus, to name but a few. But for all their multitudes, they are barely enough to hold off the ever-present threat from aliens, heretics, mutants, and worse.
Estonians.
To be a man in such times, to be a man in such times is to be one among untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable. Forget the power of technology and science, for so much has been forgotten, never to be relearned. Forget the promise of progress and understanding. For in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. There is no peace among the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter, and the laughter of the thirsting gods. Prepare to enter the nightmare world of dark heresy. Alrighty, so it's a quick introduction to the universe. So, now a little bit more specifically, our team of acolytes are going to work for the Inquisition. The Inquisition is pretty much what the Inquisition used to be. Their primary purpose is to hunt three different groups. There's the Ordo Hereticus, who hunt the enemies within. There's the Ordo Xenos, who hunt the enemies without. And there are the Ordo Malleus, who hunt the demons and shit. Our particular Inquisitor, Inquisitor Eden Matoya, works for the Ordo Hereticus. All these plebs have been recruited for him. So, I think now it's a good time to do quick introductions for each of the characters, and then we'll go from there. All right, so let's have Billy go first.
Right, I am Zal. I am born on the island of Rund. It's a feral world, which basically means it's full of all kinds of ridiculous crap that wants to kill me. My mother died in infancy to a Karkanaxi, which is a sea beast that imitates the cry of human babies to lure in prey. The father was a hunter. He died in one of the many, many landslides.
And he never warned your mother about this sea beast?
Well, I mean, apparently not.
There's not just one sea beast, there are many sea beasts.
Yes.
Go on.
And evidently the sea beast sounded particularly like baby me, so... From there, I grew up. I hunted a lot. Started killing shit as I got older. Some people as well. I could classify myself as a bounty hunter, I suppose. Taking out bigger animals and occasionally people. At some point during my life, I got enslaved, which wasn't fun. Got whipped and shit. Eventually broke out. And met up with one of Solly's Inquisitor buddies.
Alrighty. So I'm going to ask each of the characters, or each of the players, 4 different questions. So the first one is, Billy, what does your character Zell desire?
Uh-oh.
Oh,
hang
no.
on. We've got
Somebody just left the call and
connection
it fucked
problem.
everything up?
You left the call.
I didn't leave
Yes,
the call.
you
I'm
left
here.
it. It's your camera. You need to turn it back on. It'll fix if you do, I think.
Yeah.
I wonder why it turned off.
I don't know.
It's a mystery.
That's what we like, mysteries.
You fucked up.
Fantastic. Is it back?
I am suddenly
You're
Galgal.
coming back, yeah.
Okay, so I desire to survive, learn more about the Imperium, which my planet is one of the newer planets to be found by the Imperium of Man. And also to shed blood.
Nope. Sounds pretty good. All right. What does your character hate? What does Zell hate?
Slavers and heretics in general.
All right. What's Zell willing to sacrifice?
Lives, preferably lots.
Not his, though.
Not mine, no. Mine's too important.
Pleb
Blessed,
lives?
though.
Team's lives? Filthy's life?
Probably Filthy's especially, but everyone's in general.
Cool. All right. And what does the Inquisition mean to Zell?
It's a way to explore the universe, and he feels a sense of duty to the Inquisition in aiding his escape and slaughtering of the slavers he was captured by.
Okay. Cool. So next we have Galg, who's playing the character Gundren.
Yep, my character is a psyker, and after graduating from a school, he served in the Adeptus Astra Telepathica as a guardian. And
Perhaps,
he's
Galga, you
a-
could take a moment to tell the viewers what a psyker is, so they don't just hear psycho. No, like in all seriousness, because like probably a lot of people aren't familiar with this universe, right?
Well, I have psychic powers.
There we go.
Okay,
And-
so I'll give a
Which is
quick explanation of
terrifying.
psychers. So, because of the warp, which allows interstellar travel, it actually infects the minds of thousands and thousands every day. Most of these psychers are sacrificed to the Emperor, the Golden Throne, in order for him to sustain himself, right? However, those of particular ability or stature are often kept alive and trained as sanctioned psychers. And that is the case. So he gets his powers from the warp, which makes him incredibly dangerous to the team, because demons love psychers. So if Gal fucks up his rolls, yeah, have fun with that. But anyway, okay, Gal.
Well, Filthy should be well acquainted with me fucking up.
Yeah, we're gonna be missing a lot of 99s again, huh? Alright, Galga.
Yep. So essentially, I know medicine and I can heal people.
That's
And
useful.
yep.
Excellent. All right. What does Gundrum love? Or what does he desire, sorry?
Revenge and a second chance.
Okay.
Revenge on who?
What
I missed
does-
that background?
Yeah.
He has a lot of secrets, so it's for you guys to find out.
All right. What does Gundrum hate?
Hypocrites whom he deems the dregs of the Imperium.
Glebs
And Billy.
and Billy.
Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah, Solitaire loves me now.
All right. What is Gundrum willing to sacrifice?
Everything for a second chance.
All right. What does the Inquisition mean to Gundrum?
A means of leaving the Adeptus Astra Telepathica and a second chance at what he truly desires.
He wants to be a
Okay.
baker.
All right. Next, we will have Zira, who's playing Perrin, or the Wolf, is also known as. All right.
White Wolf. Let's be clear.
White Wolf.
Yeah, that's
Fucking racist.
because. Yeah, it's racist.
Brandon Sanderson
That's
stuff, or is this Robert Jordan's White Wolf? Do we know?
it's a combination, I guess. It's Perrin is kind of wolfish, and because I rolled my visage as something like a Witcher character, so it kind of fits nicely. Anyway, my character's name is Perrin, and Yes, Bulldog, it was very hot. My character's name was Perrin, and he's 18 years old, and he comes from a frontier planet called Fortitude. Basically, frontier planets are colonial planets. There's no government there. They're just people doing illegal shit and people just trying to get away from stuff. And my character comes from the latter kind of village, so people trying to live peacefully as one can. Anyway, Perrin is the son of a village elder, and he was serving as apprentice to the village mech sage. And after the mech sage died in a vicious orc attack, Perrin has been taking care of all the mechanical stuff in the village by himself. Anyway, when Perrin was 18, some Ordox Xenos Inquisitor party moved through the village. They were gone a few days, and when they came back, there was a huge horde of orcs attacking the village, and basically everyone in his family died. And since he has a technical background, the Inquisitor thought that Perrin could be of some use to the Imperium, and he took him with him, and that's pretty much the backstory.
Go. Alrighty, so what does Perrin desire?
He wants to know about his family roots because he really doesn't know much about it. His origin is kind of unknown.
Okay. What does Perrin hate?
Mostly orcs.
Filthy orcs. Alright. What is Perrin willing to sacrifice in the name of the Inquisition?
Mr. Fluffy is the skull of his previous master.
Just to be clear, Mr. Fluffy is a servo skull.
To elaborate, it's a servo skull. Basically, when Mechanicus people die, they can choose or be made into servo skull, which basically help other mechanics to complete some tasks. So when the old master died, Perrin made his skull into a servo skull and called him Mr. Fluffy.
All right. And what does the Inquisition mean to Perrin?
He doesn't really know about them much, or doesn't care, because he's been living his whole life in a frontier world, which doesn't get much interference. Mm-hmm. So it's all new to him. And since he has nothing to hold him on Fortitude anymore, he's like, yeah, let's go out there, let's see what we can find out.
All right, cool, awesome. All right, now we're going to go into to Matter, who's Ara, known as the Red.
Or just Red.
Just Red.
Yeah. So her name is Ara, but she introduces herself primarily as Red, which is a nickname she got as a teenager. Because she has just bright red hair. So she comes from Snope's world, which is a hive, and she's like lower hive sort of scum. Grew up in a gang, a drug cartel. Currently does not work for them anymore. There was some shady shit that went down. And for the past few years, she's been sort of like a freelance thief until she got caught up with the interrogator. She had stolen something that she did not know was anything particularly important, and traded it and information for the opportunity to not be just murdered as soon as she gave up the information. So yeah, she's agile and likes guns, but isn't particularly strong, and she's let's see what she's 1.6 meters. That's 5'3", so she's pretty short.
All right, cool. What does Ara desire?
Escapism and thrill. She likes the heist, and you could say she has a bit of a substance problem.
What does Ara hate?
Predators, but she's not above manipulating people herself, so she doesn't like it, but she is more than happy to use sort of underhanded tactics as necessary.
What is Ara willing to sacrifice for the Inquisition?
Other people, not herself though. She's not willing to sacrifice her own life. But I mean, other people she doesn't care about, which is everybody. Yeah, they don't really matter much to her.
They don't matter.
Oops.
What does the Inquisition mean to Ara?
Well, it was the Inquisition or death. So, she's working for them, and she's happy to continue working for them because she knows that if she if she leaves, they'll just kill her, and she's not interested in dying.
Cool. All right. And finally, our red-headed host, Filthy.
That's right. Not known as Red, thankfully. So my character is Ills. Grew up on a feral world, which Billy's already spoken about. Basically, you get the sense that it's a kind of, it sounds very much like a colonial world, but even less colonized, perhaps, like more hostile environment. Pretty ugly stuff. Came across, he's young, he's 16 apparently. We have to roll for stats. So if you guys haven't done this before, you roll for your name, you roll for your age, you roll for all sorts of stuff like that. So I'm 16. But apparently well known. Came to the attention of a visiting inquisitor who was sent to deal with an orc problem, and I was already well known on this planet for my aptitude with dealing with the native life, apparently including orcs, and was recruited for that, performed well on that, and then was basically seen as having some potential and was brought into this kind of other going on that I have no knowledge about on a different world. So basically given an invitation and told to show up on Snope's world. And that's kind of where I'm at and what I know about it. Background-wise, pretty normal background world. I think on the feral world, fairly quiet upbringing. No parents dead, no parents massacred by anyone, so that's good.
Lucky.
Just very motivated. I guess in this world, it's a harsh world. People come of age a little bit earlier. You're expected to grow up very quickly, and I guess that's what's happened in this case. So do you want to ask me a question, Solitaire?
All right. So, what does Ills desire?
Well, he's young. He wants to advance in the ranks, become someone, get a name for himself. That's about it.
All right. Cool. In it for personal glory, then.
That's right.
What does Ills hate?
Well, he's very self-reliant. He came from this kind of dangerous background world where part of day-to-day life is being capable of taking care of yourself and your own survival. He doesn't like people who are unable to do that, so he finds not a lot of value in people who aren't going to be contributing. If these people are only out for themselves and not for the team, he's not going to be very upset with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. What is Ills willing to sacrifice for the Inquisition?
Sacrifice for the Inquisition. Well, he's been uprooted. He's young, he's been uprooted from his home, he doesn't know anything about these other worlds he's been going to. He already feels like he's sacrificing quite a bit. I think, there's not much more to be said for that, right? He's already here with his body, that's all he's got. That's his skill set, that's all he's got. And he's here putting it to use on whatever he's told to do. So I think he's already sacrificing pretty much everything.
Okay. And what does the Inquisition mean to Ills?
It's a way of advancement, of getting ahead in life. He's come from a fairly backwards frontier planet, feral world, where he would probably, if he wasn't picked up by the Inquisition, he probably would have spent his entire life doing roughly the same thing that he's been doing already, and have a very probably low status in the general scheme of things. This is a route for advancement and control over his life.
Mhm. Okay, cool, awesome. Do any of you have any questions for each other? Just an opportunity.
No.
3,
No.
2, 1.
Yes.
All right, cool.
I do.
Okay.
So is this like kind of we get dropped in on this like fucking starport and we're getting to know each other type deal? Is that the idea?
We've not actually started the RP yet, so no need to worry about that.
Oh, then no.
Oh, actually, I've got one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Filthy and Gaug. My character doesn't call people by their real names. Have you got a preferred nickname?
Wait,
That's
what?
part of his background and superstition. I don't call anyone by their real name.
And Zell's probably not your real name, is it?
Nope.
You can call me.
Tell you
You can
what,
call me
give you
Gundram.
a few to think
That
of something
works.
like that.
Billy, why don't you call
Yeah,
me
you can
Gundram?
actually call him Gundram's fine.
Okay, I'm going to call him Gunny then.
You can actually call me by my full name, Guntram.
Yeah, but I don't.
But he's not gonna.
That's the whole point of this conversation.
You know, it works for your superstition.
Yeah,
You can actually call my full name and not.
I'm actually backing Galg up on this. It's true
Okay.
what he's saying. All right. You can also call Filthy Ills because that's not his real name. His real name is Ilsingworth.
Is it?
Okay,
Excellent.
we're good then.
And I have a line of
All right.
small bears with boots.
All right, so
What?
now I'm going to introduce the
What?
mechanics to the. Apparently, it's some joke. It sounded funny to me, but I don't understand the
Just laugh.
context.
My
Okay,
channel.
mechanics. All right, so as everybody on stream can see, each character has 10 stats. All right, to run through them, going from top left to bottom right. WS weapon skill, BS ballistic skill, S strength, T toughness, AG agility, INT intelligence, PER perception, WP willpower, FEL fellowship, and IFL is influence. All right. So the way this works is your weapon skill is how good you are with melee weapons, ballistic skill, ballistic weapons, strength, how strong you are, blah blah blah. All right. Now Dark Heresy works on a D100 base system, and for any action, or not any action, but for most actions that you want to do, you need to roll a D100, some kind of skill test. And depending on what it is you're trying to do, changes which stat it's based against. Okay? Quick example, let's take Zell. Zell's weapon skill is 44. All right? Let's say he's using a hammer to try and attack something. He would need to roll a weapon skill test. The weapon skill test is a roll of D100, and if he rolls less than 44,
Or 44
That's a
itself,
success.
right?
yeah, 44 or less, it is successful.
So
All right?
essentially, our stats are basically rookie stats. We're looking at XCOM rookie stats here, about 30 to 40% chances to hit.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So we're fucking useless.
However,
in other words.
there are bonuses for that, right? I mean, obviously in XCOM you've got steady weapon. There are similar things here as well, so you know you can boost that. So obviously, the higher your stat, the better, and it's quite easy to understand. If you've got a WS of 44, your weapon skill, you've got a 44% chance of hitting something, right? Let's talk about the non-attacking stats. Let's say T is your toughness, 33. Let's say you have to stomach something like alcohol. That might be a toughness-based test, all right? So I'll get you to roll a toughness test. If you roll higher than 33, you're drunk. If you roll like 99, you're completely knocked out, or maybe even dead. All right.
A lot of us have innate resistances to that, though.
So
Yeah, so I don't have the English trait.
Apart from sleeping, there's absolutely nothing to do here.
finally, the one standout one is IFL influence. There aren't any actual skill-based tests for influence, but influence is used to requisition items. There's no formal currency used to purchase their main upgrades. I mean, there is for sundry expenses, but nothing really worth worrying about. The Inquisition is a massive organization who can get you what you need, provided you have the correct clearance for it, and that's what the influence stat represents, is your clearance. Filthy is not cleared for anything, whereas Ara has quite a bit of clearance to herself. Now, influence is a particularly unique stat in that it can't be raised or lowered by spending experience points on it. It has to be raised or lowered depending on your performance during a mission. Influence can also be spent to call in backup units, but we're not going to be using those, at least in session 1, in that you don't really know anybody, and you're expected to take care of things yourself.
Although this is Matter's homeworld, right? Red's homeworld here?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
And
But
she might have some contacts.
Oh, in the criminal underworld, definitely.
But in provided the context, it's not a place she's familiar with. The area we're in is not something she knows, and it's also because we're doing this as a session 0. It's the prologue. You're expected to carry things out yourself, and if you don't manage to do that, people are going to be pretty disappointed in you, basically. Okay. That is the basics of what the different stats mean. I don't think there's... Oh, I'm looking at a question. What does fellowship attribute to? Fellowship represents your ability to speak to others. So say you have to just inquire for general details. That would be a fellowship-based test. Any kind of social interaction sort of thing would be a fellowship test. Okay. I think that's good for things just now. Anything you guys can think of that I've not mentioned?
The toughness bonus helps us absorb damage, right?
I think Solitaire,
Right.
what would be extremely helpful for me and probably all the viewers, and probably all of us as the first time doing this, is when we go through the combat, like first rounds of combat or interrogations or anything like this, you do a pretty heavy walkthrough of things we can and can't do during that and what's going to influence that. Because I think a lot of these rules, I've just, we've read them once, we've read them twice, but we haven't used them yet. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's more useful within a practical situation than it is to hear, but it's good to know what these stats mean and how strong characters are in different areas.
Absolutely.
One final thing is there's a stat bonus. So for each stat, you see they're over 10. So your 10's digit of that particular stat is known as the stats bonus. For example, Gundrum's toughness is 26, therefore Gundrum's toughness bonus is 2. Perrin's toughness is 37, so he's got a toughness bonus of 3. That inherently means he's got directly 3 damage mitigation, where Gundrum only has 2 damage mitigation. And that's the way it works. Okay, so that's bonuses, and there are different bonuses that come into different situations, but we'll encounter those as we go through the game. Okay?
Okay, let's...
Cool.
And I think
All right.
when you sit still, it looks like your camera resolution is quite good. So if you never move again, that would be perfect.
As I said before, I'm trying to drink between the dropped frames.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you drink very quickly, you could probably get it in and out and we won't even see it. So.
Yes.
All right. Okay,
I can actually... I actually can try dropping out of the call and coming back in because
No. I'm just teasing. It's fine.
Don't do it.
Don't fuck
Don't.
it up.
I switched to Ethernet in the meanwhile, but I think it's still working on Wi-Fi.
No, this is
The
fine.
Skype connection.
You'll fuck everything up if you do that,
Yeah,
Zara.
it's
I know I will.
We'll kick you from the party. We will spend the first round hacking your corpse to death. So,
Mr.
So
Fluffy
Aqua-
will save me.
Aqua's asking what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be playing the role of every single NPC plus the narrator for the game, and I'm going to be the one personally responsible for killing the team.
commonly
Unless
referred to as
Gundr-
the GM
unless-
or Game Master. Right?
Unless Gundrum does that first by summoning a demon, but there's only about a 5% chance he does that.
Seriously, it's as high as 5%?
5.
Oh, Jesus. He's
Oh,
not
we're
going to be
so
allowed
fucked.
to use actions. Gundrum sits in the back
You
and the
just
rest of the
tie him
party
up
does
with a
stuff.
gag.
Dude, that's why I would can.
My God. All right.
Okay, so let's start the game. All right. So after being, by the way, for the record,